mafuta hata ikipanda anapata faida. So in the next 3-4 weeks mafuta itapanda na zaidi ya 40 shillings kuendelea mbele. So na ikipanda fare itapanda, kila kitu itapanda. Sasa wewe William Ruto umetajirika. Sasa hii utajiri mingi ni ya nini? Si umeumiza sisi ya kutosha. Tafadhali tosheka na ile umepata. Hiyo inatosha wewe. Sasa hii ya mafuta umesema iongezwe hata ifike pesa ngapi? Wewe ujali. So that is the problem.
Well, regarding Gachagua, before the hiking of fuel, had actually warned Kenyans what would become of the fuel crisis. Whom do you think is actually feeding Rigathi Gachagua with all these detailed information about all the trending events? He's always current. Wherever he speaks reality. Whatever it is what it is. Is Ruto not in a panic mode whenever Rigathi Gachagua explains something and it comes to the fact it is a reality that Rigathi Gachagua has a detailed whereabouts about the information? Do you think Rigathi Gachagua actually has an inside man who is giving him a brief or explained to detail informations about the day-to-day activities that William Ruto is? But Gachagua always openly says it, that he has allies from the government who are close to William Ruto, who contact him. Who are these people? And he even thanked them at one point for always giving him reliable information without disclosing their actual identity. Remember, top officials were arrested due to the oil scandal and also resigned without mentioning the reason why to the public.
Be taken to court on trumped up charges that they brought substandard fuel. But the truth of the matter is that they are in competition with William Ruto and they have denied him profit. The DCI has now become rogue. And we are of the view that since his contract has ended, they should not be extended. The MD Kenya Pipeline, let the MD EPRA, and let the PS go home. The only crime they have committed is to deny William Ruto more profit for the benefit of the people of Kenya. We also want to be fair to those officers. Those are patriotic Kenyans who wanted fuel to come at a reasonable price because G2G is fixed.
Now, Ndal Nyoro also came out yesterday and addressed the fuel crisis.
It has very little to do with the welfare of Kenyans. It has everything to do with watu wadogo wamekula chakula ya mzee. Need to know this clearly so that we remove the veil out of whatever it is happening in our fuel sector.
William Ruto is the new price structure. Kenyans now have to pay for the greed and business of William Ruto, not only on the pump, but across all sectors of the economy. Yesterday night, they increased prices of super petroleum by Kenya shillings 28.69 and diesel by Kenya shillings 40.3 per litre, a historic high since Kenya's independence. You recall 2 weeks ago I announced the price increase of 40 because I had information from the team that was negotiating in Dubai on behalf of William Ruto and his people. Following the April 14, 2026 price adjustment, Mr. William Ruto will earn a profit of Kenya shillings 5 per every litre consumed by the people of Kenya, or the equivalent of 2.5 billion Kenya shillings. From the 500 million litres to be supplied for the region's consumption. Since the inception of the so-called G2G agreement, Mr. William Ruto has earned a cool 30 billion shillings in profit from the supply of petroleum products to the region. During the COVID pandemic period and the onset of the Ukraine-Russian war, the then government of the day took measures to cushion the welfare of citizens. Whereas today the William Ruto regime has taken advantage of the Middle East crisis to load their profit on the local pump price to the detriment of Kenyan citizens.
Well, what do you think about the fuel increase of prices? This will only hurt Kenyans because now when you look at the living standards, everything is going to be hiked. For example, they already hiked the transportation charges. You don't look at the people who are going to work in the morning, let them be considerate, because now if they hike prices, people need to go to work in the morning, to and from. And remember, this rush hour time, that the increment of the price usually shoots higher. Maybe it will be doubled. This only digs in Kenyan pockets, sabotaging living standards of Kenyans. I remember when President Ruto was a deputy and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was the president, the same crisis occurred. And man, during Ruto's campaign, that was the only thing he was talking about. He will not harm Kenyans by hiking fuels and all that, but he is doing the very same thing back in 2022.
People telling us about Ukraine and Russia are also telling us that there is no shortage of fuel. They are also trying to blame oil marketers. So they are even conflicted in the reasons why we have an artificial crisis in the country. From their own statement, they are not sure of what to say. Is it because of the war in Ukraine, or is it because of the crisis with our oil marketers? Which is which? And that goes to tell you that this crisis is orchestrated, and it is as a result of the cartels and barons who have taken over, using conflict of interest and state capture in our economy. I mean, a straight answer would be, how come that fuel in Uganda is cheaper than fuel in Kenya? So, and yet the fuel being sold in Uganda goes through Kenya. That tells you that that kind of explanation is escapist and has no basis whatsoever. We should address ourselves to the crisis that is there in the country and the monopolies that have taken our fuel and economic sector captive.
We've listened to that speech. That was former Deputy President William Ruto in 2002 criticizing President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta then. But now he is doing the same very things that Uhuru was doing, hiking fuel prices. And why do you think he's hiking these fuel prices? Is it because they're now blaming it on the cartels? How are the cartels involved in this fuel crisis? Or is it because of the personal benefit of the government gaining money from the Kenyans? An increment will lead to an increase of the gross profits, as they are blaming it on the crisis of the Middle East, where the oil is coming from. How far will the government play this scapegoat, blaming it on the Middle East crisis, yet they want to benefit from the oil scandal? Definitely the scarcity of goods always leads to an increment of prices, and when the prices shoot, it is a definite thing that the living standards will have to go high, because now the transport charges are also going to be increased, which is directly hurting Kenyans, chipping in extra more to satisfy the government plans, while 4 officials are being blamed from this oil scandal, yet it is actually not their fault.
William Ruto came up with something called G2G in matters petroleum. G2G means government to government. But there's nothing like that. It is Kenyan companies buying from the Middle East. 2 companies, Gulf Energy, owned by somebody from Meru called Jogu, a proxy of Kasongo, and Starbucks, owned by Chebet, the one who grabbed the hotel for Rafael Tuju, again a proxy of William Ruto, are the ones who have been doing business for petroleum. So as we are anticipating a crisis because of the challenges in Iran, these peers for petroleum, the CEO EPRA and the CEO Kenya Pipeline, decided, because G2G is a fixed price, and William Ruto wants it that way because he makes a lot of profit, they decided to get cheaper fuel so that they can help cushion the people of Kenya from price hike. And then the people who run the G2G on behalf of William Ruto reported to him that these people have brought competition with you and you are going to lose your profit. That is why they have been arrested. Because they are in competition with William Ruto. So those people are in custody, not that they have committed any crime. They brought cheaper fuel for the country so that Kenyans do not suffer. They are patriots, they are heroes of this country. They are now in custody. The PS has been released because he's having some health challenges, but the rest are in custody. They will be taken to court on trumped up charges that they brought substandard fuel. But the truth of the matter is that they are in competition with William Ruto and they have denied him profit. And what has happened is that William Ruto increased 8% of VAT for petroleum products. Then he added another 7 shillings for fuel levy. He used the fuel levy 7 shillings to borrow from banks 175 billion. This 175 billion is what him and Kindiki have been going around bribing people in Kenya. The only way to stabilize prices is for William Ruto to do away with the 8% VAT and to remove the 7 shillings, which is fuel levy. But he doesn't want, because he wants profit. He wants fuel increase to be up to 40 shillings. And it will happen in the next few weeks. Per liter, it will go up to 40 shillings or even beyond. So we are calling him out. You have taken over every business in this country. You have put people...
What do you think about Rigathi Gachagua's analysis? You know, Gachagua always has a point. Whenever he speaks, it's always the truth. He's always up to date with all the government programs and information. Whom do you think is actually giving him this information? Because he exposed the fuel hiking like 2 weeks back, and it has come to pass exactly how he stated it. So is the government trying to benefit from Kenyans, or it's just another political scapegoat behind the fuel crisis? Kenya, the fuel crisis has become a trending topic in Kenya after prices went high and transport also was hiked, with the aims of the government getting a high profit from Kenyans. Well, what do you think about the fuel crisis that is currently going on? And Rigathi Gachagua is exposing that the current CS and the member of parliament who were arrested because of denying William Ruto profits, hence the sabotage of fuel crisis. Leave me your views on the comments section. Subscribe to Royal News, the channel where you get all your trending politics. In case it's your first time to listen in, press your subscribe button and ring your notification bell so that you can be first to receive the news bulletins once we upload them. Until then, JD Ishmaels.